Representative Hill, Representative Rotundo, Senator Flood, Representative Chase, members of the Appropriations and Financial Affairs Committee. I am Richard Rosen. I serve as the Director of the Governor's Office of Policy and Management, and it's my pleasure to be able to deliver to you today our report that relates to the Part F portion of the budget. I'm happy to say that we had delivered the report on time, September 30. It was actually the deadline, and we submitted the report electronically to the office, and that we have we exceeded the original dollar goal that was set for us to achieve in terms of dollar savings, and we have essentially met the position charge as well. So I've received guidance from the chairs that we'd like to have you walk through the report initiative by initiative, so I will approach it that way, and if you want to send me the signal to kind of move along, just go right ahead, or stop along the way. Follow your guide and your lead in terms of the presentation. Excellent. So on Wednesday, June 26, 2013, the Maine Legislature passed the state's biennial budget for fiscal 14 and 15. And the budget law, as I said, did contain the provision Part F, which eliminated $33,750,000 from the budget and tasked the Governor's Office of Policy and Management to analyze the structures and functions of government to identify savings. The $33,750,000 was to be comprised of $11,250,000 in FY14 in general fund savings through administrative savings and by financial order, and $22,500,000 savings in FY15 achievable either by administrative means or legislative action. You'll see a mix of those proposals in our 15 report. OPM was also tasked to review vacant fill positions with the executive branch and identify other positions of possible elimination, and we were asked to present a report on September 30. And this is that report. Before I get into the details, I want to just take one moment and introduce you to the members of the Office of Policy and Management staff that put so much time and energy and effort into the production of this report. They have with us today, and I'm just asked them to wave. The first person is our Deputy Director, former Attorney General of the State of Maine, Bill Schneider, who has provided us tremendous both intellectual and capacity and guidance, an enormous amount of talent. Joining us as well is Chase Martin, Jen Tarr, and Billy Thompson. The remaining member of our staff, the State Economist, Amanda Rector, is out on maternity leave, I'm sure you're aware, and very well, and provided us some guidance, but essentially has been out most of the summer doing what it's supposed to do, and that is expanding the family. Before I leave the staff introductions, I just want to remind the committee that even though she is out at the moment, she will be returning, and you have available to you a tremendous asset to the State Economist and the Director, which we will take advantage of the opportunity to go to her with information regarding economic data reporting.
Director Rosen, while I know you're most capable of being up there on your own, I just want to share with you that you're welcome to bring any of your staff up to say what you're interested in.
I won't hesitate to turn around and ask for support. In view of the short amount of time allocated to this task, OPM has attacked the task on several fronts. We've interacted extensively with people both inside and outside of government in order to develop ideas of potential savings and position eliminations. We've researched the feasibility of these ideas as well as our own, and received an immense amount of assistance in developing and evaluating these ideas from the Department of Administrative and Financial Services and the Bureau of Budgeting. OPM has also developed and issued savings targets for all the executive branch departments and agencies, as well as the legislature, judiciary, and the constitutional and statutory officers, in order to draw on their expertise and prompt discussion with them about ways to achieve savings. We had a remarkably good response to the savings targets, with almost all of the executive departments and agencies, the judiciary, and all but one of the constitutional and statutory officers offering savings. And we thank all of those who participated for their contributions to the achievement of our overall goal. We were asked to identify In fulfillment of this task, OPM has identified $11,255,673 in potential administrative savings in FY14 and $24,266,592 potential savings in FY15, achieved administratively and through legislative action. And we have also identified 97 governmental positions for possible elimination. We can get into the details of that later in the report. I'm going to move to the Part F component. The legislature has tasked the Office of Policy and Management to analyze the structures and functions of government to identify the general fund savings. As I mentioned, the savings include $11,250,000 for the financial year of the first year. We're also tasked to undertake a review of vacant fill positions, and the review must identify up to 100 positions for possible elimination. These have been delivered to you. And if in the enabling legislation, the legislature fails to enact legislation in the second regular session of the 126th legislature that achieves at least $22,500,000 savings, the governor will be authorized to achieve the balance of those savings by issuing a curtailment order. That's an element of the language that the legislature passed. To describe the process that we use, the process OPM designed to achieve the savings required by Part F is determined primarily by the limited timetable which is prescribed, approximately 90 days, and the scale of the cost savings required. OPM staff collected and evaluated information from existing sources such as agencies' zero-based budgeting documents, past budget initiatives, legislation, Office of Program Evaluation and Government Accountability reports, and other sources. In addition, the staff conducted interviews with agency personnel and reviewed operational data and materials provided by departments and agencies. At the request of several commissioners, OPM sent letters to departments and agencies with prorated targets to help encourage discussion on the programmatic and non-programmatic changes that would be necessary to meet the savings requirements. The staff subsequently reviewed each proposal provided, worked with the agencies to evaluate the feasibility of their ideas, and made recommendations. The findings and conclusions contained in this report are based on the information collected through this process. As outlined in the section on OPM, the office was established to improve the efficiency and effectiveness of state government while also facilitating the achievement of long-term state economic goals and objectives. It's the mission, with that mission in mind, OPM approached the task of finding $33.75 million in general fund savings. When looking at efficiency and effectiveness, OPM wanted to know four things. For efficiency, the savings initiative helped to optimize innovation and collaboration, and did it appropriately prioritize services and improve equity across state government. For effectiveness, did the savings initiative strengthen financial and fiscal management to better fund vital services, and also did it improve accountability, transparency, and accessibility. As the section outlining Part F makes clear, the savings goals are to fund the $11,250,000 first year for administrative maintenance. These are savings achieved without the need for legislation. The use of administrative tools is limited in scope. It can neither eliminate programs nor eliminate legislative headcount. This required OPM to focus on finding efficiencies such as consolidations and reorganizations within departments. Despite the limits placed on the available means to achieve the FY14 savings, OPM wanted to continue to work towards its core function of improving both the efficiency and effectiveness of Maine's government in its approach to its administrative savings. This meant that for each administrative savings initiative identified, OPM asked whether these savings improve the functionality of state government and apply the criteria listed above. If the answer was yes, the initiative would move forward. If the answer was no, OPM engaged with the department or agency to try to find savings that did improve functionality. Well, this approach served OPM state agencies well. Given the scope of the FY14 portion of the $11.25 million in general fund savings, the limitations of administrative action, An FY15 Part F gives OPM more leeway to make decisions. In addition to administrative action, OPM can recommend program changes to achieve the savings required for $22.5 million. OPM approached the second-year savings much in the same way it approached the first, focusing on the core mission of the office. We looked again to efficiency and effectiveness, but also took the opportunity to recommend long-term changes to programs. This meant evaluating the fundamental objectives of programs and advancing ideas for good government. With efficiency, effectiveness, and good government principles as guideposts, OPM solicited departments and agencies for their ideas. Those ideas were then evaluated on their merits and compared to OPM's core mission. Working with departments and agencies, the ideas were changed and honed to meet the legislative savings requirement. The short timeline and where possible OPM's core mission. We also capitalized on the previous work completed by OPM. Their excellent reports on state contracts, Maine Care, and state boards and commissions, to name a few, all helped to inform OPM's work on Part F in both fiscal years. Another important assessment tool for OPM was the ZBB initiative, Zero-Based Budgeting Initiative, undertaken by Governor Page and his administration. This exercise was completed at the end of 2012 and provided OPM with documents from each department outlining areas of strength and highlighting programs in need of improvement. The interdepartmental review required by ZBB process proved to be integral in OPM's development of ideas. Both the work of OPM and the ZBB reports provided us with important insight into individual departments and agencies. Those efforts helped to inform our analysis and allow development of savings in line with this core mission. The process was complete. The initiative was submitted to the Bureau of Budget for review. They evaluated the programs based on feasibility and determined whether the savings indicated by the department or agency were in fact achievable and the best method of achievement, whether administratively or through legislation. The final task assigned to us was to review vacant fill positions within executive branch departments and agencies, regardless of funding source, and provide recommendations to eliminate up to 100. Additionally, again, was to provide the legislature with a list of vacant positions, included how long they have been vacant. These recommendations can be found in Section B, Section B of this report, Section 5, and this complete list of vacancies in Appendix D. The recommendations contained in Section 5 are determined through the process of identifying savings using the guideposts outlined above, the reports of OPM, ZBB results, and through discussions with the executive departments and agencies. Now, the establishment of the targets. Due to the, again, short time available to identify and analyze and recommend the savings, we established proportional monetary targets for each department and agency, as well as for both the judicial and legislative branches of government. These targets were created by comparing the minimum savings required for each year. OPM did not include health insurance, state retirement, debt service, and insurance in these targets. I'd like to refer you now to Appendix D in the report and highlight those expenditures in the budget that were exempt from the targets. And if you take a look at that, you'll notice that when we define the universe of how to apply the targets, major categories of state spending, including many of the debt service of the state radio network system, tree growth, veterans tax reimbursement, general debt service, the Board of Corrections Investment Fund, Maine Emergency Management, teacher retirement expenditures, general purpose aid for the first year of the budget, 2014, retired teacher life insurance, the disproportionate share money with the two state institutes of mental disease, indigent legal services funding, the judicial debt service, the 911 fund, and the University of Maine debt service. Those are all exempt from our targets, and you see the listing of the total dollars there on that list. So as an example, the Department of Administrative and Financial Services, DAFS, has a general fund budget of $102.6 million in FY14, 73.4 in FY15. After taking out the health insurance, state retirement system contributions, debt services, and so forth, the budget assessed for savings was reduced from $68.4 million in 14 to $70.2 in 15. Assessing these revised budget numbers against the 11 and 4 savings and 25 savings, in the case of DAX, we generated a target that you see here, a target of $558,000 in 14, $756,000 in 15. In the specific case of the Department of Health and Human Services, Maine here was not deducted from the budget used to determine the savings target. So their target amounts for both fiscal years were based on the full cost. And the Department of Education, as I said earlier, GPA was deducted from the FY14 target assessment because most schools have already completed their own budget setting processes based upon the FY14 GPA, but not exempt from FY15, again to reflect the cost of government. The specific targets for each year, as I mentioned, can be found on the appendix. Once the targets were developed, OPM sent letters to the heads of each department, agency, and branch, notifying them of their savings, and provided them with a deadline for submitting the initial ideas. There was a fairly quick turn on it. These letters went out the last week of July. We requested a response by August 5th, and then started the process of the discussion after that. The legislation did not officially respond, although we have had communication with the executive director. And the report reflects that Maine Public Broadcasting Network did not respond, but we did receive a response yesterday and asked the staff to distribute that letter from MPDN. So you see their response did come in, and we can review the letter and assess the explanation. Maine's executive departments and agencies in the judicial branch have been commended for their exemplary cooperation in this difficult task. Each response was the beginning of the development of savings initiatives using this process.